My neighborhood is really tightly knit. You know, we look out for each other. When people go on vacations, you know, we're like, oh, well, they're going to be gone for a couple weeks. You know, we just make sure everything stays where it's supposed to be. Look out for stranger danger. You know, we all keep our yards nice, and we all have red mulch. You know, we're just like all on the same page. We want the same things in my area of Frogtown. We want to live good. We want to raise our families, you know, safe and protected, and I feel like that's what we have. You know, it wasn't always like that, but now it's a lot better in like the 17 years that I've been living in that neighborhood. The transition that I seen, well, kind of the good and the bad, was when the light rail was coming through. A lot of businesses folded that, you know, I was used to going to a lot of little small restaurants. Good notes was that I saw was how when I first moved there was a lot of drugs and, you know, prostitution, a lot of gang violence and stuff like that, and we kind of got sick of it and figured, you know, the police can't do everything, so we're going to police our own neighborhood. And we bonded together, had meetings. You know, we would go on walks at certain times of night just to make sure that, you know, when bad people see good people walking around, that makes them want to leave. They don't want to stick around and hang out because they know somebody's watching them. So we did that for probably the first 2 years that I lived in that community, and that was a good transition, just to see how all of that just kind of disappeared and got clean. That was really nice. I like the whole mural thing, you know, because there's a lot of vacant space that could utilize, you know, like some positive murals for, you know, young people. And another thing I would like to see is communal gardens, because we really don't have any. We probably have like one that just started last year, and that's right on Minnehaha, right next to that big park, but there's no other communal gardens in Frogtown. And I think that would be something really nice, and a lot of people would probably participate if we had something like that to offer in a couple of the different little areas in Frogtown. You know, a lot of people lost, you know, businesses, so there is space that can be utilized in a positive way, I feel, in Frogtown. We need some signs telling people to slow down in the neighborhoods, because people speed down those streets, and we don't have bike lanes, you know, in the neighborhoods that would probably be, you know, beneficial. Maybe even try to utilize like a whole park on one side of the street thing, you know, to leave more space in the street for, you know, a bike lane or something like that. But the slow down signs would definitely be beneficial, because I see people just flying down. It's like it's a residential street. A kid could dart out any second, you know, running after a ball, and you just killed them because you're in a hurry to go nowhere fast. I don't get it. I just recently noticed, like the last couple years, a lot of bikers in our neighborhood that I never even realized until like the last couple years. A lot. I mean, little kids, older people, just from 2 to 200, you might as well say. I mean, some really old people on them bikes, you know, and some really little bitty tykes on those bikes. And I'm like, and you're speeding by. That, how does that even make sense? But, you know, such is life sometimes. One thing would probably be squirrel control, because squirrels do a lot of damage. I actually had to hire a squirrel exterminator because they had got down in my wall, and it was not a good thing. It just wasn't a good thing, and they're just everywhere. So squirrel control, you know, because they damage your yard. You know, if you try to like plant flowers or anything, they're gonna dig it up and try to eat it. I have a fourplex that's actually right next door to me, and the squirrels have like chewed holes in their ceiling. You know, they have like an out front porch, And you can just see the little squirrels, they be poking their head through, you know, and it's like, you don't live here, come on now. I don't know if it's more vanity than anything in my neighborhood. It's like, we just gotta keep it together, because we realize that we live in the city and it's hard to keep a nice yard in the city, you know, with people constantly walking through and littering and, you know, stuff like that. What we mostly do is try to like make it a point every weekend or either every other weekend to just do some type of yard maintenance. If it's nothing but pulling up weeds, or we like definitely keep our grass cut. My backyard is a challenge, you know, because it's a challenge, I'll just say that. But yeah, we just try to make it a point to stay on it, because if you let it go, it's easy to get out of control. So we just, you know, everybody just does their part, you know, to keep the yards together. But that's a really good idea, you know, getting a grant for people to keep their yards up, and then as a reward to the neighborhood, like through a little block, whatever. They only come and clean the streets like twice a year, in spring and in the fall. You know, after the leaves fall, we get a street cleaning, and then after the snow thaws, we get a street cleaning. But besides that, it's pretty much up to us to keep the litter under control, and it can be challenging, especially, you know, with the bars in the neighborhood and people, you know, just walking through after 2 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that. Popeye chicken boxes, 40-ounce bottles. But yeah, we keep it maintained as much as we can, you know, without killing ourselves, because it's not like we don't already pay for it with our property taxes. You know, it would be helpful. When the economy tanked, Habitat saved my life, because I got laid off from my job that I was at for 8 years. I was working temp jobs, you know, I was got laid off from a job making almost $20 an hour, having to work at temp services making like $8-9 an hour. So it was cutthroat, and I almost lost my house, you know. But Habitat already had in place, you know, where they could kind of, I guess, like refinance my mortgage for me to where it would lower my payments, and they would kind of just like tag it on to the end of my mortgage note or what have you. So I think that is something really, really good that Habitat already has in place, and I don't think enough people know about it. If more people knew about it, that would probably save a lot of people who've already lost their homes and just, you know, thought that they were lost. And I was like, well, I know it's got to be something that Habitat can do to help me keep my house, you know, because that's their goal. They want to keep people in their homes. And I just think if more people knew about the different programs that Habitat has to offer, then it would save people a lot financially. Man, by the time 2025 comes around, it's gonna be so upscale, because they're already like putting condos everywhere. It's like everybody from the suburbs is gonna be moving into the city, and everybody in the city is gonna be moving to the suburbs. Well, I think what would probably prevent that from happening is like some type of rent control, because if people can't afford to live in these new condos and all this, you know, new housing stuff that they're building up, it's gonna force them out because they can't afford to live there, you know. So it needs to be affordable. Whatever, all this stuff that they're building up right now, let's make it affordable for common folk. Not necessarily low income, but just, you know, the mid to modern economical family, you know, that makes anywhere from $35,000 to $45,000 a year, you know, because that's not a lot of money, but that's where people are right now, you know. And if they are building, they're not building for us.